Hi, my name is Dave Measle. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Peer Support Coalition, and we're really excited to be presenting these videos today. We just continue to grow and continue to do whatever we see is necessary to support the profession of peer services. Which brings us to this video, or these videos. One of the things that we recognize through conversations with other peer specialists and through our own experiences, because most of us who work here and are on the board of directors are peers ourselves. One of the things that we recognized was the need to have some more information out there about what a typical day of a peer specialist looks like. You know, what are the real world things that a peer specialist encounters. The 2-week training is amazing, and as I said, most of us are peers here at the Coalition. We've all been through one of the 2-week trainings, and we all walked out of that training feeling super inspired and super ready to go out and do this work and uplifted, which is awesome. But we wanted to provide some additional information about some of, again, the real world experience of a peer specialist. What does the day-to-day life of a peer specialist look like? What are some of the challenges that peer specialists face while providing this service? Our original vision was to create some in-person classes that people could come to and get information on, and we would create, slideshows and, PowerPoints and things like that. When we actually started to pursue that or discuss it more, it became clear that that wasn't going to be the best, most efficient way to achieve what we wanted to with this project. So then we kind of evolved and moved into creating this series of videos. And so then what we did is we went out and we started talking to other peer professionals, people who were on the ground doing the work face-to-face with peers on a daily basis. So that we could get their perspective on it. We had our own perspectives from our own experiences, but we wanted to gather as much as we could from other peer professionals across the state as well. So we started having these conversations. We sent out surveys, we had focus groups, all around this idea of what would you have liked to have known prior to taking the 2-week course. Knowing what you know now, as a certified peer professional, what's the information that would have been helpful to you before you decided to move in this field or move in this direction? And what we got from these discussions were kind of 6 basic areas that people really felt like they would have liked more information, in making a decision to move into peer work. None of them said that they hoped or wished that they had not moved into this field. Not all were still in the field either. But there were 6 areas that people really wanted more information or would have liked more information. And the areas included things like, what does the day-to-day life of a certified peer specialist look like? What does a day in the life of look like? What does documentation look like? I didn't know anything about documentation before I became a certified peer specialist. I would have liked to have known more. What does the actual certification process look like? How do I become certified? Information on ethics and boundaries. I would have liked to have had more information on that. What does the process through the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation look like? So we took these things and we said, okay, these are the things that we're being told that people wanted more information on. And we developed a set of questions around those topics. And then we went out and we set about finding subject matter experts in Pennsylvania. People who had done the job, who had, been a face-to-face peer for years and had a lot of experience doing this work so that they could share their insights with you. And so we started meeting with them, and what we did is we just set up a camera and sat down and we asked all of them the exact same set of questions, gathering information on these topics that we had been told were things that, you know, people would have liked to have known. And so the following videos is really the result of these interviews, of talking to, as I said, you know, very experienced, very well-spoken, certified peer specialists who had a lot of knowledge and a lot of insight to share. So we hope that these videos are going to be viewed by people who are interested in becoming peer professionals, who maybe want a little more information, for people who maybe aren't interested in becoming peer professionals but want to know more about what are peer professionals, like what do peer professionals do. So we're putting these videos out there as an educational piece to teach people or to inform people on peer services and what they are and what a day-to-day life looks like for an individual who does the work and is on the front lines every day. We have really enjoyed making these videos and meeting with these subject matter experts. They have all been amazing partners to work with on this project. We believe what we have to present to you is some really good information, and we certainly hope that you're able to take away some great, helpful, insightful information that will help you make a decision on whether or not you want to become a peer professional. Or if you're not becoming a peer professional, we hope that there's information in these videos that you can take away and walk away and say, huh, now I really get it. I understand what a peer professional is. I understand the work that they do. I understand how important the work that they do is for the community. On behalf of everyone at the Pennsylvania Peer Support Coalition, I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch the videos. Know that we are here, that the coalition exists to support peer professionals and those who support the profession as well. So, you know, if you need us for anything, we are here. Our contact information is in the videos. Feel free to reach out to us, but most of all, thank you for taking the time to watch the videos. And again, we hope that you really get some good information out of them and find them useful. Thank you.
You're running around everywhere, and it's fun. It's fun. It's a very up, go. If you like that, you're gonna love this, because you don't know where your day is gonna go. When you're meeting with somebody, you're meeting that person where they're most comfortable. So the thing I like most about peer support is you really take I out of the equation, because it's not about you. It's about that peer.
Where we find a goal that our peer wants to do, not something that we want for them. For instance, I walked in somebody's house and there was no furniture. And my first thing is, okay, we got to get your furniture. And my peer wanted to learn more about dinosaurs. So we sat on the floor and did some work finding dinosaurs. After I built that rapport, after a couple months, I was able to say, do you think maybe we should try to, I can help you out if you'd want some more furniture.
So you have these relationships, you have these awesome, open and transparent dialogues. You're really seeing people sometimes when they're not at their best. So it's very easy to get very attached to people, which is not a bad thing. But coming into being a certified peer or to working in recovery is very important to understand how you get well, what you need to be well, and how you handle stress, and make sure that you handle stress in a healthy way.
And a lot of times when I first meet with a new peer, I don't even really share any of the specifics of my story. I usually don't share anything more than, hey, I've had some of my own mental health challenges too. And then as we get to know each other and as we build rapport and as we build trust, I can share the bits and pieces of my story that I feel are important and relate to that person.
So, you know, for the organizations, they get kind of the whitewash story. Yes, I'm a peer, I suffered with addiction and mental health problems and blah, 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 where I can sit down with folks and be specific to whatever it is they're willing to disclose. Generally, when I was working with homeless veterans, I would start small. I would give them just enough to know that, you know, we have something in common. I'm a veteran, you're a veteran. I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic, you're hoping to get there. How do you want to do this?
Sure.
As the relationship, because you know, all peer work is relational, as we built a relationship, depending on what they would share, I would pick bits and pieces of myself to share with them. Obviously, you know, I don't share any identifying stuff. They're not going to know my address or, you know, but I would tell them, you know, if a guy says, well, I got daughters, bro, I got 3 daughters. You're preaching to the choir. I know what that looks like.
My day started at 8, and I usually work till 4. I would get to the office about 7:45, you know, get anything I needed as far as forms or stuff. But it always started with like checking my schedule, right? My schedule was kind of what guided me and how my day was going to look. So if I knew I needed to be in the central part of the county at 8, I would have to leave the office or my house no later than 7:30. But on days maybe I didn't have an appointment until 9:30, I'd go to the office, I'd get my forms printed out that I needed, have some of the water cooler talk, you know, stop in my boss's office and, you know, how was your weekend, that sort of stuff. And then I would go out and see peers. And I'm going to say this, a regular day usually involved some sort of cancellation or a no-show. So really having a solid plan in place of what that means when that happens and being able to, you know, kind of adjust on the fly and be flexible and, you know, call some other peers and say I had a cancellation. I was supposed to meet with you at 11, but can I come now at 9? You know, that was pretty typical. And then, you know, other regular things was just like day-to-day success stories, right? That's the cool part about this is I got to watch people, you know, actively work towards and achieve things that they wanted to do. And then just to see the gratitude for the service and for me being there step by step was pretty cool too.
Well, the first thing you do is you kind of look at your schedule and see what you have planned for the day. You will probably make a call to a CPS to check in and see how they're doing. You know, there's a lot of travel time involved. Sometimes we're meeting with people in the community. We cover 4 counties, so the travel time could be, you know, could be quite large. You know, you might have to drive a half an hour to meet with a peer, and that peer doesn't show up, and then you have to drive a half an hour back, or maybe an hour past your previous location to meet with somebody. So I would say you really need to be flexible with your schedule because peers do cancel. Peers' phones run out of minutes and you can't contact them. And when you actually go to visit with somebody and knock on the door, they might not be there. So just that flexibility I think is really huge in the day-to-day procedures. Again, and also day-to-day you want to leave yourself some time to do your documentation so that it doesn't pile up and get a backlog.
You never know. I mean, to be honest, you truly never know what a day is going to bring. I mean, my days are filled with hope, meeting with individuals where they're at.
I go upstairs, he has a chair, staff is all spread it out, he's cursing out the whole house, he's screaming, he's hollering, and he asked me what do I want, and I said, I'm just here to support you. What can I do to help you? What can I, and he said, if you want to help me, you tell all of them to get out the room. So I asked everybody to leave the room. I asked him, could he please put the chair down so him and I can talk. He reluctantly put the chair down. He was very hyper. And what I discovered through our dialogue was that he had a seizure and he fell down the steps. And when he woke up from that seizure, his money was missing. And the only people was around him was staff. Now, that don't necessarily mean staff did anything, right? I mean, something could have happened prior to that. But the bottom line is, this is why he was irate. This is why he was upset. And when I got to the door, they were talking about 302ing him, sending him to the hospital because he's out of control. But when it took a conversation to find out that he just needed some more tools to express his discomfort. So let's figure out how we can get your voice heard without the chair, right? So just showing you with an extreme, how something can go one way and then a few hours later it can be something completely different. And this is every single day. It can change on you because, you know, people are human.
There is most definitely not a normal day. I mean, sometimes, once in a brief while, your day goes exactly as you thought it would go. I quickly found out that sometimes your day gets flipped upside down, and at first I was very anxious, like this didn't go as I planned, you know, and I found out very quickly I had to become flexible, and I had to be really good with my time management skills if I wanted to make a living at this, if I wanted to be able to continue in this field. And you know, at the same time, I found out that I was actually good at helping other people. Like, I didn't find that out in any other profession, and I like doing it.
I want to touch on telling your story. There's telling your story to help, and then there's telling your story to harm. And obviously, I don't think that we tell our story to harm anyone, but recognizing when the appropriate time to tell that story and how much detail you share. You know, you need to know what's going to benefit them. And reliving your own trauma, it isn't fair to yourself, and it's not fair to the other person. So save that for therapy. You know, be aware of what you can handle and what you can't. And it's okay to say, you know what, I can't talk to you about this. That is okay.
If I'm having a conversation and I'm listening to someone talk, my brain moves fast sometimes, and I have to slow it down. And sometimes I catch myself thinking about, oh, this is what I want to say, and just waiting for the other person to stop talking so I can get in what I want to say. You know, waiting for that break, or maybe even not waiting for the break, just cutting them off and blurting out what I want to say. That's not true listening. You know, and maybe if you're sitting in a group of, you know, 5 friends and you're having a raucous conversation about, you know, whatever, that's fine. But if you're sitting down with a peer and you're trying to make that connection with them, or you've made a deep connection with them and you're having a deep conversation, being truly present and being truly aware of what they're saying and hearing what they're saying is paramount in terms of listening, and being able to either build the rapport or maintain the rapport that you've already established with them.
You know, sometimes people just have to hear themselves say stuff out loud. They might look at you, I'm not a question answer, or how do I say that? I'm not here to answer your questions. I'll share my experience when I can. And sometimes people just need to say things out loud so they can hear how it sounds and they can make up their own mind. You know, just listening, not giving any answers, not speaking, and people figure out what they got to do just because they're saying it out loud to somebody else.
And it was how close we were, that I didn't realize that in certain settings, just because of how the room was set up and what the activity was, that I would sometimes brush a shoulder, brush an arm, or if we're laughing, I would sometimes pat their elbow or their arm, and it was such a minor thing, but I unwittingly crossed a boundary that made this person think something that it wasn't. So you have to really be mindful of what you say, but most importantly, how you say it when it comes to boundaries.
My one guy, he wanted to get a job, so we were working on resume and like role-playing interview skills and things like that. And then like the guy I would see next, he like wanted to get a divorce and hadn't filed taxes in 5 years. And then the next guy wanted to learn how to cook, so like we had a crock pot and we were researching recipes. So, you know, it was so varied. Yeah, there really isn't a regular day that I can describe, but you know, just showing up making sure my schedule's locked down, making sure I have the supplies that I need, the forms that I need, and then just going out and doing it. And if somebody didn't show up or canceled, just being able to adjust on the fly.
For me, a day in the life, it's just, I've just learned to roll with it. You know, because you never know.
It's important to build a rapport with individuals so they know they can trust you. And I know HIPAA's out there, but a lot of people don't understand. I'm not going to talk about you behind your back. Not only because it's illegal, but like I just wouldn't do it. So building that rapport is definitely important.
I really struggled with time management.
Correct.
Learning different things. If I'm going to be over here in this part of the county, I want to see if I can schedule closer to, so I'm not running all over the place. But also knowing the person that you're working with, knowing what their needs are, knowing what the expectation is, how many hours are we going to be doing, and really having insight with what you can handle in your day.